Hi, Keith here from Academy of Bass. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm looking at the secret to Pino Palladino's awesome bass playing. I'm going to focus on a technique that he uses so much in his playing to spark interest in his lines. In fact, you'll hear this in most of his bass lines, and that's the way that he plays runs and fills both between his lines and also to lead back into his main bass grooves. I'm going to use the bass line that I just played to show you how great this technique is, but before I get into it, Pino's magic technique is actually quite easy. It's how he uses arpeggios, but he doesn't play them in the way that you might think. He plays around with them. He plays them in different registers, changes the way that he plays the notes. Of course, he's using different things such as rhythm and different playing articulations, but more on that later. Now, there's a completely free PDF for this lesson. I'll post the link to it below. It's got everything in that I'm going to be playing, fully notated in both standard notation and tab, and I've also included the backing track that I'm using in this lesson as part of that download, so make sure you grab a copy. If you enjoyed the lesson, give me a shout out and let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and also support what I'm doing here by subscribing to the channel. The first chord's G, and I played this. So I'm starting with a G root note at the 3rd fret of the E string, then jumping up to play the octave G at the 5th fret of the D string, also with my first finger. The next note is B, that's the 3rd of the chord, I'm playing that at the 7th fret of the E string. Then it's D, the 5th of the chord at the 5th fret of the A string, and then back to G. So I'm outlining the chord using the 3 notes in the chord arpeggio, the root, 3rd and 5th, but I'm playing them in a different way, and I'm in the first inversion position. Now, if you don't know what an inversion is, it's just the notes in the chord played in a different way. We've got G, B, D, or root, 3rd and 5th, and we're just playing B, D, G, or 3rd, 5th and root, but I'm in this hand position. The next chord is C. So again, I'm starting from C, the root note at the 3rd fret of the A string, then it's on to G. Now G's the 5th of the chord, I'm at the 5th fret of the D string, then I'm sliding into A at the 7th fret of the D string. Now A is the 6th of the chord, and the 6th is a really sweet sounding note to use over major chords. From there it's the C octave at the 5th fret of the G string, then down to E. E's the 3rd of the chord at the 7th fret of the A string. So again, outlining the chord in a slightly different way using this first inversion position, but with a different rhythm. From there we've got G at the 5th fret of the D string, hammering onto A at the 7th fret, because that leads us into the next chord, which is D. So this time I'm playing D root note at the 5th fret of the A string, B at the 4th fret of the G string. Now B is the 6th of the chord, and from there it's A, which is the 5th of the chord at the 7th fret of the D string. So again we've got this 5th and 6th combination, but played in a different order. From there we've got D, the octave at the 7th fret of the G string, then I'm playing an open A. A's the 5th of the chord, and I like the contrast between this G and this D and the open A, and we finish off with F sharp here at the 4th fret of the D string. F sharp's the 3rd of the chord. So we've used 3 different ways of outlining each chord here using the notes in the arpeggio, but played in slightly different ways and with different rhythm. And now we've got a pentatonic fill, and Pino Palladino makes great use of pentatonic scales. Don't let anyone tell you that a pentatonic scale isn't a sophisticated scale, because it absolutely is, and you can use it to create great sounding lines in any style. So this is the fill. So it starts with a 5-note cluster, starting from D here at the 7th fret of the G string, hammering onto E at the 9th, and then pulling back off onto D at the 7th. Then we've got B at the 9th fret of the D string and A at the 7th. From there we've got G at the 10th fret of the A string and E at the 7th. Now you could play that slightly differently. You could play it here. You could play G here at the 5th fret of the D string if you wanted to do, but I prefer this fingering. From this E, we've got A at the 7th fret of the D string. I'm playing that with my 2nd finger because we're sliding into G at the 5th fret for the next note. Then we've got a nice run up the scale. Nice and straightforward. D, E, G, A, B, D, B, A. So this is the first line now. Now the second time through is similar but with some variations. So over G we're playing this. So we're starting from G here, coming out of the pentatonic fill at the 5th fret of the D string. Then it's down to G, the root note, at the 3rd fret of the E string. Then we're jumping up to B at the 4th fret of the G string. Sorry, B's the 3rd. Then we've got open D, that's the 5th of the chord. Then we've got B here, that's the 3rd of the chord, at the 7th fret of the E string. Then we're playing D the 5th and G the octave. The next chord is C. So this is an interesting line. We've got the C root note at the 3rd fret of the A string, octave at the 5th fret of the G string, and then from this octave we play that again and pull off to open G. G's the 5th of the chord. Then we're playing D, but I'm playing that as a muted note to lead into E. E's the 3rd of the chord at the 7th fret of the A string. And then we've got an open E. And then we're on to D, and this is quite an easy line. So we're starting with D, the root note, at the 5th fret of the A string, sliding into F sharp, the 3rd of the chord, at the 9th fret of the A string, but we're sliding in from E here at the 7th fret. Then it's on to A, the 5th of the chord, at the 7th fret of the D string. So that's just root, 3rd and 5th, but then we've got... So we've got F sharp, the 3rd, 11th fret of the G string. Then I'm playing open D, the root note, and then open A, the 5th, and I'm letting them ring out. It sounds a little bit messy, but in a second I'm going to show you a slightly different way of playing that. So let me play that part of the line all the way through. And we finish off on B here at the 7th fret of the E string. Now you could play that slightly differently. You could play F sharp, open D, and then fret A here at the 5th fret of the E string to lead into B. And from there we've got a little pentatonic line. A, B, D, B, E, D, B, A, D, A, F sharp. So we're finishing on F sharp, the 3rd of the D chord, to lead us nicely back into G again. There are some key things that make these lines sound so good and so characteristic of Pino's playing. Firstly, the way the notes are being distributed across the fingerboard. Now in most cases I was only playing 3 notes over each chord, but the fact that I played them in different ways using the full range of the instrument and using different inversions has produced some really interesting sounds, and they don't necessarily sound like chord arpeggios. Then there's the open strings, and they bring a different character to the bass lines too. But when you add the pentatonic fills into the mix, they create the glue that really make these lines work. But the best thing about this technique for me is the harmonic devices I was using, and they're so easy. It's just chord arpeggios and pentatonic scales. Of course I was using plenty of rhythm. In fact, each line over each different chord was given a different rhythmical treatment. And then there's the plain articulations, the slides, the hammer-ons, the pull-offs, and the muting. So where do Pino's actual bass lines fit into this? Well, if you check out any of his bass lines, they're littered with all of these trademark techniques. Every Time You Go Away by Paul Young, Wherever I Lay My Hat by Paul Young, I'm Gonna Tear Your Playhouse Down by Paul Young, Get Here by Alita Adams, Clever by Erykah Badu, The Charade by D'Angelo. He's done some great playing with 9 Inch Nails too. Sanctified, All Time Low, and Came Back Haunted are all worth a listen to. Anything that he's played with John Mayer, Who Do You Think I Was, Good Love Is On The Way, Still Feel Like Your Man, and they're just a small handful. So check out his playing, and I guarantee that you're going to hear something that I've looked at in this lesson. If you want to change your playing, get into chord arpeggios, learn them and their inversions, and work on playing them everywhere across the fingerboard. Learn pentatonic scales too, major and minor. I really do hope that you've enjoyed this lesson. If you have, give me a shout out and let me know in the comments. Don't forget to grab the PDF too, the link to that's posted below. And feel free to like the video and support what I'm doing here by subscribing to the channel. Thanks for joining me. Look forward to seeing you again. And in the meantime, happy practicing.